Let's now talk about metaphors in multimodal text. Carl has pointed out that multimodal analysis is a key to understand various promotional texts related to education institutions, because we can see there is a kind of influx of visual elements coming from various fields of knowledge into educational institutions' promotional packages. And it's not possible to get their in-depth insight without realizing what kind of lexical or visual metaphors have been employed there. We can see there has been a kind of practice of including marketing terminology metaphors into the business of education, and there have been many discursive practices of this nature which have actually now entrenched into the promotions of education institutions. Even non-profit organizations now use the terms which are purely economic or managerial in terms, and they intend to boost organizational efficiency and competitiveness in order to succeed in higher education market. We can see the terms or the images of annual reports, and then we can see multimodal text and other images also, which reflect a kind of image of the institutions, or their goals or ideologies or their achievements which they would have done recently, or maybe certain historical points about the institution also. So we need to see all them in order to reach the deeper message. A highly designed text which contains the use of metaphor provide insight into how organizations represent themselves in an effort to engender favorable audience responses or dispositions towards themselves. So this is also a process of sending your message to the audience and attempting to get a favorable response. In Management University annual report, such text was found. Organization is living organism and organization is person, which is very strange. Such use of metaphors like living organism and person are considered highly dominant. Even though an organization consists of animate as well as inanimate aspects, it is discursively ascribed traits, abilities, and identities of living beings when conceptualized as living organisms. So, giving human attributes to organization shows a kind of dynamism, progress, and movement which humans are known for. That's a very interesting and dominant metaphor. In the same report, the organization's development and increasing success are represented in terms of a living being evolving and having grown tremendously in size. Is how human beings grow. While second expression, if you just have a look, organization is person, is highly idiomatic also, we are likely to see its use here as conscious and deliberate, representing the organization as a person, but not the one it once was, which is obviously is changing repeatedly. So organization can also be depicted as a kind of physical activity associated with living beings, and this would show uh, organization's capacity and intention to develop and change with the passage of time, or when time needs it. Organization is described, can also be described in some promotions as a kind of journey, or as a kind of a quest for more knowledge, for progress, for development. So there could be multiple metaphors which can be used in such promotional text. For this purpose, there many images can be related to or can be derived from path schema. For example, the notion of quest foregrounds the path and especially destination, which shows a kind of a positive human struggle also. And in such struggle or journey, the end point is knowledge, which is obviously the destination. Metaphors, by using such metaphors, it as I have already mentioned, that people try to show their organization as a living organization or as a dynamic actor which is progressing with the passage of time, or which is seeking more development and progress as as time passes. Movement to be a combination of both forward and upward. It can be a forward or upward movement which shows a kind of progress in the organization. If you just look at this image, this comes from the promotion of an educational institution, a university. And if you just see, the cover occupies a highly salient position. The representation and encapsulated in the image is also prioritized, becoming a sort of organizing idea for the whole document. The organization, as metonymically represented by the person in graduation attire, is depicted to be running on an ascending path. ऊपर की तरफ जो रास्ता जा रहा है उसको शो किया गया इसमें, which actually means that organization believes in making its students progress in this way, or organization is also progressing in this way. So there has been verbal metaphors which shows that thinking is racing, visual metaphors that organization itself is the runner, and multimodal metaphors which fulfilling the vision which is running. So the image of run, metaphor of run is being employed here, and that is employed to show the urge to progress by the university to which this image represents. The run itself appeared to represent the organization's process of fulfilling its 2025 vision, which, as the verbal text suggests, is to become a great university. The process entails a series of steps which has been shown in the image which you just saw, and these steps are actually the steps of the ladder towards progress. So, and they have been visually represented. There could be other examples of multimodal metaphors also. This ascending path is just one example. There could be many other depending on the vision and the future goals of the organization. If you just look to the image again, just imagine that image again, you would see that the person who was shown in that image was nearing the goal. He was on the step which was only second to the last one. It means he was very close to reaching his goal. That's also a strategy to show that organization is progressive and is achieving its goal in a shining manner. And there we can also, if we relate these images to the schema path theory, we can see that it focuses on goal orientedness of the organization, and it also helps us in understanding various kinds of competitive tendencies in the socio-cultural context in which this promotion might have been thought or conceived. So education in most parts of the world is becoming a kind of race or competition where beating one another is considered to be a trait, a quality which would earn not only good reputation but good professional careers to the students. A very common trend in multimodal metaphors have been anthropomorphic metaphors, which allow us to make sense of the phenomena in the world in human terms, using human images, human terms, human qualities for sometimes inanimate objects or other things to convey certain ideals. We can rely on human motivations, goals, actions, characteristics, etc. So this could be a possible way to look into the analysis of metaphors used in various texts. So in short, we can conclude that both lexical and multimodal metaphors can be used to make a successful communication. Therefore, whenever we want to analyze any metaphors, we need to, especially the printed ones which have multiple modes, we should not restrain ourselves to the lexical decoding of the metaphors also. Rather, we should look for the decoding of various modes which have been generated, used to convey a certain metaphor, but also into various socio-cultural contexts in which those metaphors have been produced.